Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, hope you're well. We're going to go into our main project, which is to do with some Julian Opie style portraits. So there are a number of ways that we can do this and achieve this. We will need a good source, which is a good portrait. So you are able to use your camera on your phone and do that if you want. You can use the camera on your laptop if that's what you want to do, or you can go and get a professional grade image and create a character of your style. So I'm going to use the third type, which is a character. I'm just going to use a good portrait, a professional portrait. However, before we do that, we're going to check out what our style is going to look like. So before we begin, we need to look at the actual style that Julian Opie employs in his portraits. So here I've got museumofmodernart.org, and we've gone into some of his artwork already. He's done some landscapes that have a very basic digital style, and two portraits here of Gary the pop star. And if we look closely at the way that these are drawn, this one is just in two flat colours. So we don't have to go into lots of gradients of tone and what have you and detail. However, we can do that, and the more we add to it, we can add very particular styles to our portraits. If we look at the next one, you can see that there's reflections in the eyes. There's even a flower in the hair. There's no detail to these things, including the hair. The hair is made up of 3 tones. That's probably plenty enough, but it gives a good effect, and the darker tones, the highlights and the reflections in the hair. And if we look closely at both the facial features of Gary here, you'll notice that there's no shapes to the nose. And the example that I've got for us, you'll see how strange it can look where the outline of the nose is actually drawn in. You'll notice if you look at the mouth is just the lip where the mouth is closed. So when you take your photograph, you can't smile. So we have to find a portrait in Unsplash in a minute. When you take a picture, you can't be smiling because the teeth don't go well with this particular style of portraiture. So if we look here, we've got just the lip, and just here where the beard is starting, and in this one is just where the shadow is occurring underneath the lip. The same with the shape of the nose. The shape of the nose is inferred, in that the nostrils create an illusion that what we're looking for. Sometimes in some pictures you'll see the lines of the eyes. You'll see what happens when you start to draw that, because it happens to have the same effect as the outline of the nose. So this is one of Julian Opie's actual pieces of art, and you can see this shadow applied to the hair, to the things that are on the face. You can see that then where the outlines of the eyes are added, it's very delicate. There isn't much added to the eye at all. So if we look at this one, it's just a simple circle. Simple circle, no reflection. Simple circle, reflection. Circles and reflections, but this time they've added some eyelashes, but they're in blocks. So we can come back to this video and use this as an example if you want for your artwork. You also notice that the outlines have got thicker, much thicker, to give fewer details but a very bold shadowed look. And you can see the shadowing here. And we can add that to our artwork later as well. So this is an extreme example. Lots of detail, but it still has a good cartoon style. We can try and have a go at this ourselves. But again, The hair, only 2 shades. Eyebrows, mid-tones, there's only 3 tones in the whole face. So once we've done the basics, we can go into creating our own style if you want. So before we do that, we have to go and find a good portrait. Now I'm going to pause this so that you're not going to look for me and follow me while I'm trying to find a portrait, but I'm going to show you what a good portrait will look like if you're going through the Unsplash method. If you're not going to go through the Unsplash method, things that you will need to do, you will need use the back camera of your phone because it's got a better resolution. If you've got an actual camera, then like a DSLR or something like that, use that. Use a plain background if you've got a plain background. So get someone to take a photograph of you against something. So you can see this here. This is a good example because it makes the face stand out. No smiling, and look directly at the camera. You can get what's called a 3/4 shot where you're kind of face on, but make sure that you're looking straight down the lens when you're taking a picture. Right, I'm going to quickly pause this, and the next bit is for anyone who wants to go and check out what's happening in Unsplash and how to find a good photograph in here. Okay, so looking for a good portrait in Unsplash, I've just looked for the term portrait. I turned the orientation into portrait so that I could find somebody who's taken time to rotate the camera and take a good shot. And I got this lady here, and this one next to it is not bad because you can go into that 2-tone, which is the same as Gary the pop star. You could go into and try that style. So I got this one here because it's a mixture of Gary the pop star. There's good hair. The eyes are unusual, which would give a good effect because you could just have that simple one line lid that we saw in the lady here. And we've got a good nose, good light. It's against a relatively good bright background with a darker face, and a good beard here with that line for the mouth and that dark area here that is in Gary the pop star. A good start for anyone who wants to try this. The next one here, she's looking down the camera, so the camera's looking up, which makes it a little bit unusual for what we want to start with. However, good nose, good mouth, so, and also very dark, thick eyebrows and good hair with only 1 or 2 highlights in there that you would have to work on. So I might put those into the page if you want to use those on Firefly. Next, you can just go and download those. Simply click on the download, put it where you need it, and then in the next video I'm going to show you how to put it into Inkscape, ready to start tracing all the features in the face and ready for us to start creating things like this. So go and take a picture, take a selfie on whatever device you want to use, get it onto your computer. You may have to email it to yourselves, and then go and get a professional portrait if you want to go into the Unsplash method and save that. That's it for the introduction. Next video will be how to get it into Inkscape. As always, Year 6, good luck.